United States is frightened of China because it exists.
The one thing that the US cannot accept is being normal.
And the United States ultimately has to be willing to change, and there's no evidence that it is.
I mean, I think the United States is at one of its most detrimental um, moments of national history for internal reasons, not for external ones, for internal ones.
No, no, I mean, what the United States is more secure today in basic than it's ever been. It's not self-sufficient economically, but let's remember American industrialization depended upon foreign capital, mainly British, in the 19th century. The American economy is more self-sufficient degrees than probably any other economy now, although China wants to diminish its dependence on its external connections for reasons having to do with the United States' assault on it. But the United States economy is not really threatened by China. The United States leadership in certain technologies is, yes, of course, but it's more an existential threat. Americans are frightened of China not because of anything China does or even its more efficient SUVs or its infrastructure. United States is frightened of China because it exists. It's the purest example of existential anxiety, which the word for which is dread. In other words, it's China by its very success and existence, which challenges this sort of foundational assumption of American collective identity that we're superior, exceptional. We're born to be number one and always will be. And the notion of being in any sense ordinary is anathema.
The one thing that the US narrative and its entire political system cannot accept is being normal.
Yes, is being ordinary. Even if you're still stronger in some sense military than others, or we won't be for long, not that it has any practical meaning these days. I mean, people bandy about and run these war games of a war with China, totally disregarding that if you had a war with China, both countries would wind up using their nuclear arsenals and it would be all over for both of them. This is part of the escapist fantasy world people resort to. I mean, it's not just the Pentagon planners and so forth. Well, it's the think tank general and the others. In effect, without realizing it, what they're doing unconsciously is rerunning World War II. China is Imperial Japan, and Russia is Nazi Germany. Of course, it's totally ridiculous. But Europeans, I might say, I don't know Japan really, uh, are as deeply entrenched in this totally fanciful world as Americans are, even if the underlying psychological impulses are not exact.
Yeah. No, I agree. The psychology behind it, especially for the Europeans, is different. But the interesting thing to me now, what you said is that if your assessment is correct, then the most important thing to do for the other great powers, for Russia and China, is to let the Americans know and let the United States know it's okay to be ordinary. You can be normal and you will still be a valued and good member of the whole club, and we will everything will be fine. It's okay to be normal. If that sank in, then maybe there would be a chance for the US to let go of this.
That's true, but as we know from individual psychology, external parties really cannot change the psychological makeup of individuals in trouble unless they are willing to change. And the United States ultimately has to be willing to change, and there's no evidence that it is.